Hi, I'm Eldra.
And I am Gregorius.
Welcome back to Lore Masters, Legends, and Loopholes. This is our second episode, and we will mostly be breaking down and analyzing the Barbarian class from D&D, and then maybe ramble about a couple of different things. So, Gregorius, will you give us a quick overview of the Barbarian class before we break it down?
Sure. So, the Barbarian is the first class in the Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook from, I think this is, 2014?
Mm-hmm. Well, this is 5th edition, so...
5th edition, not the 5th and a half or whatever.
Yeah,
Update that they've done. So, Barbarian is the first class. It is one of the better melee-focused classes. It has the highest hit points of any class, except for specific builds, and is a great frontline specialist, especially because of the rage. The rage halves almost all damage.
Yeah, probably arguably the best class on the early side of the campaign,
especially because of the amount of damage you can output. Yes,
both damage output and reduced damage, and considering how much health you have.
Yes, it is definitely one of the better. It's definitely one of the better classes to have, especially in a larger party, or even smaller party. It's just a good class to have.
The tank who does a lot of damage. So,
yes,
is there really a downside to Barbarian in any way, really?
I mean, other than maybe range. I mean, you are locked to almost exclusively melee, but other than that, you're probably one of the better classes.
I guess we can discuss arguably the best feature of the Barbarian, rage.
Alrighty. So do we read it word for word out of the book, or do we just kind of give a rough summary?
I think we break it down and summarize it, because I guess if we read it word for word, we could get sued for copyright infringement.
Yeah, let's not do that this early. So, the Barbarian's Rage. This is a feature that you get literally from the beginning. It is one of the base features of Barbarian. It's one of the, I
would say arguably the best single feature you can get
from a class. Yes.
From a class.
It's also kind of like the kind of iconic thing about Barbarian is the very large, very angry person who does a lot of damage and doesn't take damage. So, the Rage. You can't do it while wearing heavy armor, and you cannot maintain concentration on spells. But when you are raging, you have advantage on strength-related stuff, including saving throws and checks. Also probably attacks. While using a strength-based weapon, you do get bonuses, and as you increase in level,
that bonus
increases and also affects like damages and hits.
And then the most stacked part.
And then the most stacked part of this is while raging, you have resistance to most weapon types of damages.
Bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. Are there any non-magical damages other than those? I can't remember. I feel like I should know this. I'm stupid.
Maybe
because, piercing is for daggers and most ranged weapons. Slashing is for scimitars and other sort of versatile melee weapons, and then you've got bludgeoning,
which is typically used for clubs or fall damage.
I don't think there is another type of magical, or non-magical damage.
Yeah, other than elemental and magical damages, there's not really anything that can.
Yeah, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. Why am I adding an N? Bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. Okay. Yeah, those are all of the...
So you have resistance to weapon attacks.
Or really just all physical damage.
Most physical damage. You also get unarmored defense, which is... It's alright. You don't have to wear armor, so there is some bonuses to that, such as weight
10,
and
10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your constitution modifier.
Which as a barbarian, your constitution will be quite high.
Yeah, and like even if you're going with the points buy in the standard setup, you've got what is it like 15, or I don't know. Do you know?
It's like the default's like 15, 15, 14, 10, 8, 8.
Okay, so like if you've got 15 on your constitution, and like if you're playing a barbarian, you're probably playing a race that gives you a constitution bonus.
Constitution and strength.
So you're probably going to have at least a +3 constitution modifier, and even like minimum probably +1 dexterity.
Mm-hmm.
Like even without dexterity, you're starting with a 13 armor class, and shields don't count as armor, do they?
No. And
shield is +2 AC. So you're starting. Okay, if you're not using a single-handed weapon, which probably not as a barbarian, but you're usually going to be starting.
Starting equipment, you get great axe or two.
I think great axe is a two-handed weapon.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the club, stuff like that. So typically you're going to be starting just with 13 armor class, which is considering you're having damage, that's still pretty good.
That's still pretty good. I mean, 13 is a pretty standard,
solid number.
It's a pretty standard average and or default for almost everything in D&D.
Yeah, and like if you're doing rolls, then it's probably going to be much better. Like theoretically, if you're starting with a constitution of 20, you're going to have a 15 armor class. So yeah, you just start out like
you start out very angry and very strong.
Like I do not think there's another class that can compete with Barbarian
at level 1.
At level 1,
it is the
no physical class can do it.
There's
maybe a magical class.
Maybe one of the magic classes for a specific thing, but other than that, it is one of the best level 1 classes.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the ones I feel like the ones that can compete with it really. Honestly, the class that poses the most threat to a barbarian at first level is a warlock, I think. Because if I'm not wrong, you get how many? You get no, you don't have I was gonna say invocations because you can make your Eldritch Spear a lot more powerful, but even then
No, the thing is, the evocation enhancement is called Eldritch Spear. But what it does is it doubles the
Eldritch Blast, that's right. But still, that's a D10 damage.
Mm-hmm.
So Barbarian starts out with, 12 plus Constitution. So theoretically, you can take out half to most of a Barbarian's damage with one Eldritch Blast.
If they're not raging. But if they're raging, it does.
Well, but the thing is, it's magic damage.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So it will take out roughly half to
because Eldritch Blast does force damage, so they don't resist it at this level. So yeah, in 2 or 3 turns, depending on how you roll, you can probably wipe out a Barbarian with a Warlock. But that's if they start distance apart. But if they start relatively close, then it's over for them. It's over.
It's over. No chance whatsoever.
Destroyed turn 1.
And I guess to continue with the theme of rage, like how it levels up. What's the path that you keep talking about where you can start to resist all day?
We don't get to that till we get to the third level. But at 2nd level, you get Reckless Attack, where you throw away all caution and just swing recklessly, which gives you advantage, but
on strength-based attacks.
On strength-based attacks, which as a barbarian, that's going to be your primary thing. So, but you do get a slight balancing to it.
Enemies do get advantage on attacks against you until your next turn. But if you at 2nd level, you're not fighting that many guys, or even if they are, they're pretty weak. So theoretically, if you're just fighting one person, you can one-shot them and then not really have to deal with them. If the rest
you're cleaving most things into.
Yeah, it's not going to be a huge problem.
You also get danger sense, which means you can't be frightened or snuck up on. So rogues fear rogues fear me.
Rogues fear. You can hide, but you can't surprise them. You can't
You can't sneak attack me, which is the entire thing of a rogue.
Yep. And then Primal Path. Here we go.
3rd level. Here we go. This is where it gets real meaty.
Mm-hmm.
Primal Path. So this is your subclass. So we have Path of the Berserker, Path of the Totem Warrior, and that's the only 2.
That's all I think. Okay, I guess
that's the only 2 in the player's handbook. There's a lot more of them, but those are the only 2.
I guess lots of Hunter stuff or whatever they've added in 5.5.
There's a lot of different subclasses, especially with the extended media and custom stuff.
Yeah. But
Path of the Berserker.
Okay, you could argue Path of the Totem Warrior because of more resistance to damage, but adding Frenzy on top of Rage.
So Path of Berserker is focusing more on the Rage skill.
Mm-hmm.
So you get, when you choose the path, you get the Frenzy skill. You can choose to go into a Frenzied Rage on the 2nd turn of your Rage. And this allows you to do more weapon attacks, including using your bonus actions to use that. But when your Rage ends, you do suffer exhaustion.
Although I think, like, the really cool thing about this is not only is it not a problem like most dual wield, because with most dual wield weapons, your 2nd attack is your bonus action, and you don't get to add your ability modifier to the damage.
Mm-hmm.
So with this one, not only do you get a 2nd attack with your main weapon, which does a lot more damage.
Which, truthfully, if you're doing a barbarian, you're choosing a great weapon, either a great axe or a great sword.
Or,
which,
like the big club, I don't remember exactly.
A great club. It's called a great club.
Mm-hmm.
You're choosing one of the great weapons, which either do D10 damage, D12 damage, or 2D6 damage.
Yeah, and then getting to add your ability modifier to the damage on the 2nd. Hold on, I'm curious.
And then you also add rage damage.
Rage damage, of course. But, okay, so I'm curious. Where is Mason Chain on? Is that an option?
A Mason Chain.
Is that really not an option?
You mean a Morning Star?
Wait, is there a difference between that? I'm not very familiar with a lot of weapons. What's the difference?
So a mace is a metal club with a head on it. So it's more for. It was actually more for anti-armor because towards the late end of the medieval era, plate armor was the thing to wear.
Because I can't remember exactly who wrote this book, but there is a guy who was talking about how good armor is in Gondor, because the plate armor that they wear in the Tirith is like, you cannot stab through it and you cannot shoot it with a bow. You really need something heavy like an axe or mace to get through it. But
yeah, that's the thing, is the only way to defeat a knight at the end of the medieval era wasn't with stabbing or cutting them or with shooting them with even a crossbow. It was by either subverting their armor with very specific techniques, such as stabbing them in the neck or disabling their leg. But the other thing that was typically used was using focused piercing weapons like war picks and bludgeoning weapons to break their bones.
Okay, so I guess is a mason. So what is a morning?
A Morning Star is it's a handle, it's a chain, and it's a ball.
So it's what I guess I, as an uneducated person, would call a mason chain.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think a mason chain is the one. It's typically from like fantasy media, where it's like the thing clicks together, and either the chain is stored outside of the handle,
so it can be used as either a mace or a Morning Star, essentially.
Typically, that's what it is depicted as in fantasy. Yes.
Okay. So I was sort of right, but also sort of wrong.
Yes.
Okay, that would be fun to see a barbarian with a Morning Star, because I feel like it only does a D8 damage according to the player's handbook. I feel like if you've got a barbarian swinging this and you get it modified to be heavier, and you just swing it around, this thing can be like this could be a wall. This could be your wrecking ball. You can be taking down walls with this thing if you got a barbarian and it's heavy enough.
Yeah. Especially if you choose like a certain race that gives you the large size right off the bat, so you can get a great Morning Star, which is even larger. So it's a pseudo wrecking ball at that point.
Where were we? We just finished Frenzy. So
yes, at 6th level for the Path of the Berserker, you get Mindless Rage, meaning you can't be charmed or frightened during rage, which doesn't come up as much as it probably might or should. I feel like
at higher, if you're going heavier on the role-playing side in your campaign, or if you get to certain monsters, like I do feel like there are certain monsters that are themed around distracting you by charming or frightening you.
Like, yeah, if you're going more into the Feywild route of going,
especially Fey stuff.
Yeah, especially Fey stuff has a lot of charming and or frightening.
So I guess that's a little more scenario dependent for its usefulness.
Either scenario dependent or I guess roleplay dependent. Mm-hmm. At 10th level, you get the Intimidating Presence, which allows you to effectively stun every creature within 30 feet as long as they don't succeed.
Is it every creature or one creature? One creature.
Oh, one creature. My bad. One creature within 30 feet of you that can see you. It must succeed a saving throw of 8 plus your proficiency bonus, which at 10th level is 4.
10th level, yes, it is 4. So 8 plus proficiency plus charisma. So like minimum 12. Although theoretically your charisma could be negative.
your charisma could be negative. I mean that's a very common dump stat is either charisma or intelligence.
Yeah.
But
so like
minimum,
like I guess if I was a barbarian, my dump stat would be intelligence, because really if I'm barbarian, I'm wanting to max out my intimidation. Yeah. So I'm probably going to be like minimum 12 usually.
Minimum you're getting a 12.
And that it's essentially an improved way to intimidate people, because you don't seem to have to make your initial intimidation check using your skill.
It's just an immediate thing. That and
that's nice.
Yeah, it's just use it for free.
Mm-hmm.
Though
it's an action.
It's an action. Which
so I get like
you don't have to roll. Mm-hmm. They just have to roll to save.
Yeah. Now I guess that would be really useful in role playing, but not so much. Like I guess people aren't really trying to intimidate enemies all the time on the field. So yeah.
All right. At 14th level, this is the last upgrade you get for the Path of the Berserker. You get the Retaliation skill or ability. What are we calling these?
Well, let's see. They call it a class feature. So
yeah, let's go. Yeah, a feature. Mm-hmm. At 14th level, you get the feature Retaliation. When you take damage and the creature is within 5 feet of you, so aka melee range, you can use your reaction to hit them with a weapon attack.
And let's see, at 14th level, at 14th level, you've probably found, what is it, like the manual of gainful exercise that allows you to increase your strength beyond, well, it's in the Dungeon Master's Guide, so. But I think it's called the manual of gainful exercise that allows you to increase your strength above 20. I guess I can check later and edit it in. Or you can have the Storm Giant Belt or the gloves that increase your strength. So theoretically, in addition to having a melee weapon that's doing a d12 to do d20 damage,
as well as doing an additional
rage damage.
Additional 4 rage damage.
Well, how much is rage damage at 14th level?
Well, it's only 3. So it doesn't scale.
14th level. So 5 rage. Okay. So you can do 5 rages. I was looking at the wrong column. Okay.
So it doesn't scale with your proficiency bonus. I mean, the rages do, but the actual damage doesn't. It only scales up to 4.
Yeah, but then theoretically, at 14th level, your Constitution is probably going to be at least 20. So that's going to be an additional 5 damage to your melee weapon attack when you're already doing. Well, let's see, 5 plus 3 for the rage damage. So anywhere from a d12 to a d20 plus 8 damage plus whatever else you might have stacking on top of that.
Though I do think we need to finish covering the actual barbarian stuff and not just the class stuff, so we can actually progress with the levels. So we're going to go back to the standard progression without the subclass.
So ability score improvement.
Ability score improvements, you get these at 4th level, 8th level.
8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th. So you can. That's a total of 10. Wow. You get a lot of ability score improvements for...
Total of 10.
10 point upgrades, I guess.
Yes.
That's good.
That's pretty good. 5th level, you get an extra attack.
Extra attack.
Which is already... You're already at 5th level doing 3 attacks. Or no, it's an attack action. So technically you're doing 4 attacks if you have the... What is it? The reckless... No, it's not reckless. It's the frenzy. Yeah, frenzy's the one that allows you to do an attack action with your bonus action.
Do you get a bonus action per action, or is it 1 bonus action per turn? I think it's a bonus action per turn.
It's a 1 bonus action per turn, and you get to use a single weapon attack on your bonus action.
So you've gone from 2 to 3, essentially.
Yes. Which is
still really good.
Still, the more damage, the better. Yeah. At 5th level, you also get extra movement. You get 10 additional feet of movement, which is like scary.
Scary. Like, if your speed is 30 and you immediately go, oh, I can move 40 feet now.
Or if you've done the very interesting choice of choosing a larger creature or even an elf. An angry elf is interesting.
50 feet.
Well, 45 or 50 feet. Okay, depending on the thing.
Yeah.
But still, you can move across the battlefield
quite swiftly.
Quite swiftly and quite angrily.
Yeah, well, think about it. Because you're doing 3 weapon attacks. And, like, let's see. 3 weapon attacks, your modifier is probably going to be 4. So that's 12 damage plus whatever 3 attack. So if you're doing d12 damage per plus, like, rage damage at 7th level is plus 2. So you're going to be doing 18 damage just from rage and strength modifier. Plus, let's just go with d12 for your weapon damage. So 3d12, and that averages out at 6.5. So 18. So 19 plus 18. So you're theoretically doing 37 damage. And then you can move 50 feet and then be like, oh, I'm on the other side of the board now after I killed this guy. Reinforcements.
Yup.
Ouch.
At 7th level, you get Feral Instincts. This gives you advantage on initiative. So not only are you going to be one of the fastest party members, you're going to be the strongest party member. First. You're going to be the most durable party member. You're also going to be moving first.
And then if you're surprised at the beginning of combat and aren't incapacitated,
you can enter rage.
Oh, boy. Oh.
So instead of getting frightened, you just get angry.
Mm-hmm. Oh, boy. Brutal critical.
At 9th level, brutal critical.
Roll an additional weapon damage die when determining the extra damage for a critical hit.
Oh.
So, like, triple damage for weapons.
So...
Whoa, wait. At 13th level, it becomes 2 additional and 3 additional at 17th level. So on a crit, you are doing, if you're just using a d12 damage weapon, you are doing 4d12 plus, if your strength modifier is 5, plus at 17th level, you're doing plus 4 rage damage. So that's 4d12 plus 9 damage.
Where did you get the 18 initially for that 3 attack thing then? If you're saying this is 8, but the last time it was 18, where'd you get that extra 10 from? The math ain't mathing.
Math ain't mathing. Let's see. Because the thing is, when you crit, it doesn't double or multiply your modifiers. So I wonder if does rage damage get? I guess rage damage is a modifier, so it doesn't get multiplied. So you get just the normal modifier. So plus 5 for strength, plus 4 for rage, so plus 9, and then at 17th level, you do your d12 for the weapon plus 3 more d12s for the damage on a crit. So 4d12 plus 9 damage. Ouch.
Which is a lot of damage.
So actually, think about that. If you go in for your first attack, which is an action. Well, okay. Extra attack twice for an action. But you can still use your bonus action for an attack. So theoretically, you go in, do a crit, you do 4d12 plus 9 damage. So that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage.
Don't get us copyrighted by Flex Seal.
Yeah, you do a lot of damage with those 2 attacks if one of them is a crit. Then you move 50 feet to the other side of the board, and you still got your bonus attack.
Yup.
To do on somebody else.
Potentially do it again.
Potentially doing another crit. Now, okay, unfortunately you don't get improved crits with Barbarian. But...
Which I do actually believe that there is a subclass that gives you that. Which scary.
But honestly makes me feel like it would be a little too overpowered.
Yeah. Though if you really wanted to get to that point, you'd put 9 levels into Barbarian, and then you'd only need to put what? How many in Fighter to get that? Because Fighter has that. If
superior critical at 15th level, weapon score.
No, better.
Level, yes,
improved critical
at 3rd. Oh goodness!
So
you could get to 17th level on Barbarian to get the 40-12 plus modifiers crit. Then put your last 3 levels into fighter and then have a 1 out of 10 instead of a 1 out of 20 chance of getting a crit. Ow!
That damage. Ooh, bud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely one of the better melee attacks. Melee focused classes.
Mm-hmm. All right, Relentless Rage.
Starting at 11th level, instead of dying, you can just drop down to 1 hit point.
If you make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw, but come on, if you're a fighter, you're not failing a
if you're a barbarian or a fighter, you're not
failing your Constitution.
You're not failing your Constitution.
Like I think, let's see, your proficiencies on saving throws. You've got
and
Constitution.
Strength.
So at 11th level, your proficiency is +3. So
no, that's rage damage.
Yeah, sorry, +4. So it's a DC 6 Constitution saving throw. And if you're any respectable barbarian, by 11th level, you've got at least a +3. So it's essentially a 3-up Constitution saving throw.
And then each time you
only fail on a 1 or 2. So that's a 9 out of 10 chance of passing.
9 out of 10 chance. You just don't die.
Yeah, and if you if you have a cleric, then you can immediately restore 10, 20 health at 11th level.
No, because have at 11th level they have a lot stronger spells than that.
Okay.
That they have a lot
on a bad roll.
Sure, fair. On a bad roll, you're only healing 10 wounds, but again, at that level, only 10.
Mm-hmm.
Which also at that level, that's like an attack.
Oh, okay, hold on. So persistent rage at level 15. Your rage is so fierce that it only ends
when you choose to end it,
or if you're knocked unconscious. So essentially, you have to take enough damage to reduce you to 0, and you still fail your Constitution saving throw, which is almost impossible. So does that apply to Frenzy or Frenzy? You can go into a Frenzy when you rage. So Frenzy doesn't have a duration; it lasts as long as you rage. So you only suffer exhaustion when your rage ends. So that means you can be in rage and Frenzy for an entire combat, provided you don't die. And if you've got resistance to all physical damage,
you're not dying.
Yeah,
you're just not going to die, because at that point, that's what level 15. That's 1d12. Well, I guess.
Okay, we'll go with the average of 7. So at 15th level, so 14 times 7 is 70 plus 28 is 98.
So by that level,
so you're over you're like 110 hit points at this. Or no, well, that's not even including Constitution modifier. So you're between like 120 and 150. Or okay, bad rolls you're about 100. Good rolls you're about 150.
Yeah,
that's a lot of health.
That you are a tough, extremely angry, extremely.
Okay. Now, like at 15th level, you're probably facing some pretty
dangerous
monsters.
stuff. Pretty dangerous.
But like
still though, that's yes.
Like, let's see, when do you get?
Well, and then you also have to account that it's pretty much double that, because against most weapon damage, you're taking half of that.
Yeah.
So really, it's closer to you either have 200 or 300
health. Actually, quick skip forward. When do you get resistance to magical damage Path of the Totem Warrior?
We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
When we get there, we will read that.
Okay. Final Indomitable Might. 18th level, if your total for a strength check is less than your strength score, you can use that score to place at the total. So theoretically, so
you almost never fail a strength save because
theoretically, if you're at 18th level, like you think a barbarian's going to at least have a strength of 18.
At least 18 or 20. So automatically you succeed most saves. Yeah. Primal Champion, the final upgrade for Barbarian.
If your strength and constitution increase by 4
and can exceed 20.
They can go up to 24.
Buddy.
Okay, wow.
Buddy.
So that's a plus, let's see. That's a +7 modifier for strength and constitution.
So now with the Indomitable Might at 20th level.
Oh, but think about that. If that's a +7 constitution modifier, that's 7 times 20 for hit points. So that's 140 hit points just from your constitution modifier.
Oh.
And even if you use the average, that's another 7 per level for your 7 plus 12 for first level. So 7 times 19 is 70 plus 63. So 133, 145. So even if you use the standard number of hit points your level per level, you're at 285 hit points for 20th level.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Right, now let's get to the final subclass of Barbarian at this level. Or in this book, I should say. So, Path of the Totem Warrior. This is the most commonly used one because it's very versatile and consistent. So, Totem Warrior. First class feature you get at 3rd level is Spirit Seeker. You can talk to animals and have the Beast Sense spells.
Okay, so like good in exploring the wild sort of role-playing side.
Yes. You are the Disney princess who can talk to animals, but angry. It's that one scene from Shrek 3 or whatever.
No, we've taken Maui from Moana. And we made him the Disney princess.
Which he did talk to the giant magical crab, so technically he was talking to animals. So you are Maui from Moana, except without the transformation stuff, which I guess you could do by
multi-costuming a cleric.
Not cleric.
Why did I say cleric? Druid. Oh
Druid.
My goodness, I'm stupid.
Which I guess. All right. Well, can you even do that? Because the wild shape.
Wild shape. When is wild shape or beast shapes? I guess.
Wild
shape starting at 2nd level.
So you'd have to
and it's based on your. Is it levels in cleric or combined levels, or is it
not cleric? You goob. Druid. My brother in Christ.
All right.
It's based off of
Druid.
Yes. You're in my head.
You almost said cleric.
Yes. So it's based off of Druid levels. So
not the combined stuff that we use for spell.
Yeah. To get
But like, hey, if you're a barbarian, you are an XP machine.
You are an XP machine. One of the very, very common multi-classes for Barbarian is called Barbarian. Barbarian, where it is Druid Barbarian, where you wild shape, which doesn't require concentration. Mm-hmm. Then you rage.
Ouch.
So
you're Bjorn.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, you have become a Norse deity.
Nice.
Totem Spirit, 3rd level of class feature from Path of Totems. You get to choose which creature you want. So, totem creatures are the bear, the eagle, and the wolf. The bear, this is very powerful for 3rd level, by the way. You have resistance to all damage except psychic while raging.
And, yeah.
So besides some stuff in the Underdark, such as Mind Flayers and Intelligence Eaters, nothing requires psychic checks. So except for Mind Flayers, you are resistant to everything.
Yeah! Like, the thing is, I guess I would say like third level is probably where you're gonna
start
encountering some slightly more versatile magical stuff,
or even stuff that does different types of damage.
Okay, I just realized. Okay, so I guess we missed this earlier when we were saying like you're resistant to all physical damage. Like, it didn't include stuff like lightning and fire. So like those are technically magic, but they're also sort of physical.
Those are classified as elemental damages, not magic.
Okay.
So,
but yeah, you're just like, oh, dragon? I don't care.
I take half of the damage. Then you have the eagle.
But think about it. If you succeed on your dexterity throw, well, I guess when the dragon breathes fire at you, is it a dexterity save or is it Constitution? Or
I think it's Constitution.
I would think dexterity because you're having to like dodge out of the way. Well, Constitution because of how well you stand up to the fire. It might be acid that requires dexterity.
It's one of them requires dex, one of them requires Constitution.
Oh wait. Go back to the Dragonborn race because they have you can check. They have the different. I
think it's this way.
Would it be after elves? Because
I think it's after elves. There it is. All right. So
fire, dexter.
If it's a line, then it's dex. If it's cone, then it's Constitution.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So I think
so that means that red dragons, for example, shoot a cone of fire, meaning Constitution.
So the thing is, if you pass your Constitution save,
which you're already taking half damage,
you're taking a quarter total damage. And the thing is, like, if you go like at higher levels, if you've got like say 250 hit points, the thing is, Dragon Breathfire. I think I did the math once, and it's like you can deal up to. Like, not including a crit, which if a dragon crits you with breath,
you are reduced to dust.
Although actually, I don't think they don't roll. It's just like you breathe up. I don't think they roll. They just breathe out fire. I don't think you can crit on flame breath.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Okay.
Let us refer back to the Dragonborn, maybe.
Well, the thing is, actually, is it a difference between line and cone? Maybe is line. I feel like we should know this stuff.
We really should, but we don't.
Hey, this is for fun.
No, you don't need to roll to hit.
Okay, so you can't crit it.
You can't crit.
Okay, so that would have been terrifying. If you had been able to get critted by Dragon Breath, buddy, you can say goodbye to the spirit. You have been incinerated to
non-existence.
You've been sent. You skipped the 9 hells or the divine plane. You have been sent to the elemental plane of fire.
You have been reduced to elemental dust.
Yes. But anyway, like I think Dragon Breath maxes out around 300 hit points for the ancient red dragon. So if you're at 250, you are taking half on a successful Constitution save, and of course you're passing your Constitution save because like. I think even the save for an ancient red dragon is
it's only 15.
Yeah, and at this level, like if you're
at the level of ancient red dragon fighting, then you're gonna have probably
is the save that you can sub your.
That's for.
Is that the Path of the Berserker that you can sub your Constitution or? Value or is
it is the Indomitable Might, which is for strength scores
only. Oh, so that's
you're thinking of the wrong thing.
That would have I was going to say like, hey, you've got an 18 Constitution, doesn't matter, but still, that's not really going to be a problem because you got an advantage on Constitution, or not advantage, but you're proficient in Constitution saving throws. You got a great Constitution modifier, so then you're taking half damage, so 150, then half again because of resistance. So you're taking 75 instead.
Which that's if they roll max, which more often than not, they're only rolling maybe 100 to 120 damage.
Yeah, so then you're only taking 25, which 25 for a barbarian, that's a tenth of your health. Like, that's a sizable chunk, but
for something that's supposed to reduce you to dust, yeah.
It's like the Superman with, what's his name? It's from the Justice League movie. I don't remember who the villain with the huge axe is. I should know this because I love this. It's the Batman or not the Justice League movie.
I'm not sure I watched that.
But with when he gets slammed with the axe and he just like looks up and he's like not impressed.
All right. Then you have the eagle spirit. We're going to return back to the barbarian stuff. So you have the bear, which gives you resistance to everything but psychic.
Mm-hmm.
You have the eagle, which is while raging, other creatures have disadvantage on opportunity attacks.
So like you don't even have to disengage. You can just like run away and.
With a barbarian, you're not running away. You are tactically disengaging, or you're making a tactical withdrawal.
Or you could say you're just like, this guy isn't worth my time. Let me walk away and attack this other guy who's more worth my time.
Yes, that's probably more accurate.
And you can just brush off whatever attack.
You can also use the dash action as a bonus action, which is scary because that doubles your speed.
And if you're already was the increased
that's
movement,
at 10th level.
Yeah, was increased movement base or is that Path of Berserker?
That's base. It's at 5th level.
So you could theoretically move 100 feet if with like absolutely maxed movement.
Well, if we're doing maxed movement, then you'd also probably have the mobility feat, which increases it by a further 10. So you'd be probably going 120 feet of movement, which is the range of most artillery type weapons and spells.
Yeah, and most flying creatures.
And most flying creatures even.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Speed.
This is like, what's a common flying monster in D&D? I can't remember.
I guess. Oh.
Why is this so hard to think of?
It's because you almost never encounter flying enemies.
Yeah.
Giant bat.
Okay, giant bat.
Let's go with that.
Oh, you thought you could run away from me?
Nah, get over here. Get over here.
Mm-hmm.
Or not get over here. I'm going to come to you and fight you. All right, and then the third and final spirit that's in the player's handbook. I'm pretty sure there's other books that add more spirits, but just in this book. Then you have the wolf. While raging, friends have advantage on melee attacks against creatures that are hostile and within 5 feet of you. So you just get
so if you go in with your like little rogue buddy, and they're going like, let's see, that's 3rd level, but still, like if you go in with your rogue buddy at higher levels, and the rogue is just like, oh, sneak attack damage, thank you.
No, it's not sneak attack damage,
because advantage.
It's advantage, which is just they hit better.
Mm-hmm. Although, isn't sneak attack damage that they can do it when there's something?
Is it?
My brain is not processing stuff. I'm high.
Is it?
I'm just high on caffeine right now.
You need to stop drinking Red Bull, man. You've drank what, 3 or 4?
This is my second 8.4 ounce, and I've had 2 12 ounces, so that's 2 80 milligram cans and then 214. So 224 plus 80 is 228 plus 80, so 308 plus another 80, so 388, which means I'm 12 away from the safe limit for the day.
Okay, Mr. Math and Numbers. Living calculator.
Okay, to be fair, I did some of the math earlier.
Yeah, but still. I don't think that Rogue gets that besides subclasses.
Well, I was thinking about how you get sneak attack damage. Once per turn, you can deal extra damage if you have advantage on the attack roll. So
you do.
Yes. So with the barbarian,
Barbarian being the barbarian.
With the barbarian being there and distracting your enemy, it's just like, oh, hey, sneak attack damage.
I love me some free extra damage.
Yep.
Which is strong if you have a rogue, but not everybody has a rogue.
Yeah.
All right.
Aspect of the beast.
6th level feature. Aspect of the beat. Beach? Huh?
Aspect
the grammar.
Of the beat. We've got
beast.
The barbarian has decided to become a DJ on the field.
Beast. Aspect of the beast. You gain even more benefits. So you can choose the same animal or a different one from the one you chose for the totem spirit. So the spirit of bear, you gain the might of a bear, your carrying capacity, so your maximum lift and push load is doubled, and you have advantage on strength against pushing, lifting,
just like manipulating objects.
Manipulating objects. So you're stronger when manipulating objects, which is all right.
It's useful when exploring stuff.
Yes. All right, and then we have the eagle. You gain the eyesight of an eagle. You can see up to a mile away with no difficulty. Able to discern even fine details at looking from something up to 100 feet away. Additionally,
dim light doesn't impose disadvantage on your wisdom perception checks. So like, okay, I guess you're not gonna have super high wisdom as a barbarian, but still, like, you sort of just have a general awareness of what's going on around you.
Which I mean, that one's like the bear one. It's kind of just okay.
Mm-hmm. And then hunting for a wolf.
Wolf spirit. You gain the hunting senses of a wolf. You can track other creatures
while traveling at a fast pace.
Or can move stealthily while traveling at a normal pace. Oh.
So I guess this is good for like the role-playing side of like hunts for either monsters or persons.
These are more, I guess, role-play themed.
Yeah.
And then you can also role-play it better of like, well, you have more hawk-like eyes, or you have more like wolf-like teeth, or you have like more.
Oh, isn't there? Okay, I was gonna say, isn't there like a subclass where you can sort of do some vampire stuff? I was thinking wolf-like teeth. Okay. Oh no, you're already half werewolf, and all you need to do is get bitten or something. Oh, whatever.
All right,
Spirit
Walker, 10th level feature. You get the commune with nature spell, and
now you can only cast it as a ritual.
So ritual, for those who don't know, ritual casting in D&D is a longer form of casting.
Yeah, what you do is you spend 10 minutes casting the spell, but it doesn't cost you any components at then.
Yes.
So, yeah, again, more role-playing.
And then finally, at the 14th level, you get the feature
Totemic Attunement.
So you
is that how you pronounce it? Totemic? Like totem? Totemic? I don't know.
You gain even more magical benefits of this spirit creature, or you can choose another one.
What? Okay, I just looked at bear. When you're raging, any creature within 5 feet of you that's an enemy has disadvantage on attack rolls on targets other than you or another character with this feature. An enemy is immune to this effect if it can't see or hear you, or can't be frightened. So, essentially, it's like you will have a hard time attacking anybody but the person who takes less damage.
So, it's the AoE "Hey, come focus on me" taunt thing.
Yeah, and it's also like give this guy a cleric to back him up.
Yes, with the armor buffs and the heals.
Yeah, and like they can't really attack anybody else, and you don't die.
Well, that's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Eagle. While raging, you have a flying speed.
Flying speed equal to your walking speed.
You can fly in short bursts.
So the thing is, you now went from being able to move 120 feet with all of your bonuses and everything at max to being able to fly 120 feet.
Wow. Well.
So actually, okay, I guess the original problem was, okay, giant bat can run away from me, I'll follow it. But you can't really fight it up in the air.
Now you can.
Well, it says, if you end your turn and nothing else is holding you off. So, but the thing is, you can split up your move between actions. So you can be like, I fly up to get the bat, and then I fly back down after I kill it.
You could do that, yes.
Yeah.
Then we have the last thing, Wolf. While raging, you can use a bonus action to knock a large or smaller creature prone.
When you hit it with a melee.
When you hit it with a melee weapon.
Boy.
Which automatically gives you advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And they have disadvantage on everything. And
Like,
the only thing they can do on their turn is stand up.
Yeah. Well, isn't a troll a large creature, or is it a giant creature?
I think a troll is large.
So, like, sure, it's 14th level, but the thing is, you go smash a troll down, and then your party swarms it. And it's like, oh yeah, I don't care about your health regeneration.
Because it only works on its turn.
Mm-hmm.
So...
And everyone is either going to hit you because of advantage, or we've got a better chance of crits.
Yes. Which will kill you even faster.
Kill you even faster.
Well, that's everything. That's everything in the player's handbook.
That's everything in the player's handbook. Yeah. Like I've seen, like, I love Reddit. I've seen some crazy things on Reddit.
Though there are fun books, and then there's like ones where it's like book specific thing where it's like focuses on one thing.
I just realized, so Warforged from Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron, the thing is, when you frenzy and you get exhaustion,
because you're a Warforged, you don't suffer exhaustion.
You don't suffer exhaustion, so you can just keep going.
An angry robot.
Yeah, now, like, you do have the limited number of rages, but, like, well, isn't there, what is it that lets you just keep raging again? It's the
Persistent Rage.
Persistent Rage at 15th level. But, okay, still a buff.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Yeah, well, that concludes this, this, I guess, reading of book.
And discussion, and then joking about the
absurdness.
Like, it's so strong.
Yes.
Like, yeah, it's definitely melee focused. Like, not so. Although some of the funny things I've seen about how you use the barbarian in role play, like, so Zach Speaks Giant on YouTube. He has a number of them where it's just like the barbarian is like, okay, I'm at a river. I need to escape. I'm being chased by guards. There's a pile of wood over here. I'm going to intimidate this wood into becoming a boat.
Yes. Yes. Krog the Barbarian.
Yes.
You know
Barbarian.
Yes.
See Krog.
Yes, he used
Stealth Barbarian.
The Stealth Barbarian who specializes in intimidation. You hear Alright, here's a example.
Mm-hmm.
You and your guard buddy are sitting in a forest guarding this random well for no reason that you can care about or discern.
A higher power has ordained it.
Yes. And you hear the snapping of twigs behind you. You go to put your hand on your weapon and you turn around to see this rather large, intimidating being. This orc. And this orc
with either like a huge club
or axe. Huge club or axe.
7 foot tall.
This monster. Yes. This beast of a humanoid.
Mm-hmm.
Then this orc bends down to your height level and bellows in your face. You see Krog! You will simply turn around and sit back down by the fire, because whatever this well is not worth dying for.
See Krog.
And see Krog.
And then just like the Krog the Carpenter.
Krog
just by intimidation.
Just by intimidation. Made of boat.
Like, alright, fine. Roll to intimidate the wood.
Nat 20.
Yep! And you sail off down the river with the guards staring after you.
Yup.
Like, yeah, much more limited applications for role-playing, but they can be so funny.
They can be quite good.
If you play it well, it's great.
It's great.
So, I guess that wraps up our barbarian stuffs.
I did actually end up deciding on a faction for Warhammer 40,000. I just ended up deciding on the Custodes, the Golden Guard of Terra.
Where just your average Marine has Terminator stats. I don't like this thing. I think I looked around and like there is no other faction in the game that can compete with them in melee. It's just like,
other than potentially
like I guess knights and stuff.
Other than like the big mechs, obviously.
Yeah.
Are I guess big machines.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess literally the melee focused army of either Khorne berserkers, and blood letters and stuff. maybe Slaanesh. Slaanesh demons probably have. I know they have one of the top melee armies.
So, like, for me as an Eldari player who's almost exclusively firepower focused, I have like 3 types of models that can engage in combat, and that. Okay, no, I have Howling Banshees, which will do damage and then die instantaneously.
You have Lycus and the Warp Spiders, and then you have the Avatar of King.
Yeah, Avatar of King can do melee stuff. The Warp Spiders, if you with the Exarchs with Power Blade arrays and stuff like that, can be good. But then I'm thinking more the Wraith stuff. Like Wraith Blades can sort. Like I think they'll last like 2 turns.
Maybe.
I mean, they've got enough with 2-up invulnerable saves. I can't talk. With 2-up saves and then 4-up invulnerable saves if I get the Force Shield and Ghost Axe's upgrade, which is actually a lot better than the Ghost Swords, then they should survive at least 2 turns. Like, they can get in 2 rounds of melee if they charge, and if they get charged, they do have Malevolent Souls, so they can live until the end of the turn and fight again. Well, technically, they can fight if they have not fought that turn.
My brain is not working. Too much caffeine, my brain is not working.
Don't short circuit your brain, that's bad.
Yeah. Except that I don't take that lesson. And I guess on another note that we might be discussing pretty soon, depending on when it gets released. But Dream and Decamus did not go entirely how I was expecting.
Yes, the DVD duel and skills duel.
Yeah. Yeah, so when they release the Manhunt, will probably take a little while to rewatch everything, break it down a little bit more, discuss it, and then we'll probably do an episode on that at some point after the Manhunts come out. Although the Manhunts are going to be interesting. I wonder how they're going to do. Are they going to like hire extra people, or is it going to be like Decamus' friends will hunt Dream, and Dream's friends will hunt Decamus? Or I wonder how it'll work.
Or is it literally just the 1v1? Mm-hmm. We have yet to find out. Alright, well, that concludes this episode of Lore Masters, Legends, and Loopholes. Mm-hmm. Thank you for choosing to listen.
Subscribe. Blood for the Blood God.
Skulls for the Skull Throne.